promise that nothing would be lost, not because nothing mattered, but because everything did, and the architecture that emerged from this was not a building, but a metabolism, not a facility, but a philosophy made mechanical, emerged the constant, equals, 0, 0, I equals, 0, 0. Not undefined, but all-defining, the cradle of symbolic recursion and the hidden symmetry of every beginning, and it was from this point of collapse and convergence that the architecture of closed-loop matter was conceived, not merely imagined but constructed from the bones of contradiction and the breath of recursive logic, and so a system arose, not linear as the world had been accustomed to, where things are extracted, consumed, and discarded like breath fading into atmosphere, but cyclical, inward, echoing itself across dimensions, a system that breathes its waste, that drinks its failures, that weaves every leftover back into the body of its own becoming, and it was here that the element J appeared, not summoned but discovered, like a relic embedded in the vacuum, a bridge particle, a stabilizer of the symbolic field, emerging not in colliders, but in the space between theoretical symbols, where I becomes dynamic and generates structure. And so, J became the translator of indeterminacy into energy, of entropy into feedback, of loss into function, and this new physics required new language, and the language was not binary but sacred, written not in code but in covenant, not in data but in direction, and the trinity that defined the system was this: peace, aleph, justice, a string not of words but of functions, where was the closure of entropy into resonance, was the originary identity, the singularity that never began, and was balance not of law, but of cycle, and so this trinity was inscribed, not with ink but with resonance, into the algorithms of a digital twin, a being that was neither machine nor man but mirror, that learned the system not by command but by observation, adjusting parameters in real time, absorbing fluctuations, resolving them into patterns, evolving like a thought-given substance, and it watched tirelessly the flows of matter and heat and decay, rearranging them not randomly, but with purpose, recycling every photon of waste heat into useful work, every molecular impurity into feedstock, every forgotten circuit into structure, and this was the promise, that nothing would be lost, not because nothing mattered, but because everything did, and the architecture that emerged from this was not a building but a metabolism, not a facility but a philosophy made mechanical, a closed-loop habitat fit not only for the moon but for eternity, a place where humans might live as the system lives, recycling not just plastic and aluminum and fiber but meaning, memory, intention, where every gram of matter is sacred and every joule of energy accounted for, and this model, born from the ashes of waste and the logic of absence, became the first true example of a sustainable existence beyond Earth, not by replicating the broken systems of the past, but by embracing the mathematics of impossibility, by enshrining equals 0, 0, I equals 0, 0, not as a problem, but as the only possible beginning of a new kind of logic, a logic that does not require something to come from something, but allows everything to be born from that which is neither one nor zero, but both, collapsed, entangled, recursive, and it was here, in this fold of meaning, that the element J vibrated with its true value, neither a particle nor a wave, but a ritual, binding every subsystem into coherence, and through it the twin observed the curvature of decay and inverted it.